the D.C. model to crack down on crime in other major cities, including Chicago, Los Angeles, New York. Aren't these moves part of an administration-wide effort to restore the Constitution and the rule of law to all of us, blue jurisdictions included?
Oh, absolutely. And the president made a commitment several weeks ago that we're going to prioritize so-called sanctuary cities run by Democrats, where we're going to flood the zone with additional ICE agents because we know we have a problem there. We know they're releasing public safety threats back in the community that aren't supposed to be here. They're in the country illegally. So we're already tripled down on that, and President Trump's going to bring more resources. I'm all behind the president because the men and women of ICE are making this country safer every day because they're taking public safety threats off the street by the hundreds every single day across this country.
Yes, sir. And your efforts are really making Democrats uneasy. Democrat Socialist Minneapolis mayoral candidate Omar Fattah says his top priority if he gets elected is protecting criminal illegal aliens from you and from President Trump. Watch this.
Day one, if you were elected, what would be some of your top 2-3 priorities for the city?
So that's a very good question. So the first I would say would be a hostile federal government with not only Donald Trump in office, but he has essentially a trifecta, both chambers of Congress and the Supreme Court. And a lot of our neighbors, especially our undocumented residents, are very concerned.
Mr. Fattah isn't the only one, Mr. Homan. Democrats from California's governor to Los Angeles' mayor to violent Democrat members of Congress are all pledged to keep criminal illegal aliens on the streets and harming innocent law-abiding Americans. Your response to Mr. Fattah and the others, sir?
Look, I'll say this, I've said it 1,000 times. If you want to hate ICE, okay, fine. It's a shame, but if you want to protest ICE, you got your First Amendment rights. But I've said from day one, don't cross the line. If you cross the line on knowingly harboring or concealing an illegal alien from ICE, that is a felony. You put hands on an ICE officer, that's a felony. If you impede their efforts, that's a felony. And I've seen a record number of prosecutions across the board in 18 United States Code 111, which is impediment, interference, and so forth. We will prosecute you. We prosecuted judges. We prosecuted members of Congress. And we'll prosecute mayors if we have to. Again, they're real careful about how they say things, but they stop short of crossing that line. I think most of them know better, but I guarantee you, if they cross that line, we'll seek prosecution, and Pam Bondi is committed to zero tolerance. The president committed, President Trump committed to zero tolerance on this. So if you cross the line, you'll be prosecuted.
Mr. Homan, in my preamble here in a couple of minutes, I'll talk about the scourge of crime impacting Americans, much of which has been committed by illegal aliens. In fact, ICE agents just arrested an illegal alien from Guatemala hours after he was released by Rhode Island authorities, despite being charged with multiple child sex crimes. An illegal alien shot an ICE officer in the face in New York, a situation I know you know well. And an illegal alien recently was recaptured by ICE after a left-wing judge let him go after he stood accused of decapitating an American and corrupting her body for months. These are just a few examples, Mr. Homan. Just because Democrats are supportive of lawlessness and violence against American citizens doesn't mean the rest of us have to go along. Law-abiding citizens, we do have rights in this country, do we not?
Yes, you do, and I want your viewers to understand this. Despite what the media is saying, the false narrative that ICE is out arresting non-criminals, and we're not prioritizing public safety threats, I look at the numbers every morning. Every morning, the first thing I do is look at data. There's over 20 pages of data every day. So I looked at it this morning. 70%, 70% of everybody we arrest is a criminal, a public safety threat. The other 30% could be national security threats who don't have criminal histories, gang members that don't have criminal histories, final orders, those people who had due process at great taxpayer expense, a federal judge has ordered them deported. It's ICE's job to locate them and deport them. That is your job through statute. So I want your viewers to understand we are prioritizing the worst first. We are prioritizing national security threats and public safety threats. And because of that, I look at the numbers. Every week, we're removing thousands of criminal aliens from this country. Thousands. And I think you're going to see a big difference in the inner cities. Now President Trump's doubling down on what he's doing now, I think you're going to see a drastic reduction in crime in these cities, and that percentage done by criminal aliens, hopefully we'll get that down to zero. But this is our focus, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Well, God bless you, sir, for it, because a lot of innocent Americans are thanking you for it. You know, this week the trial brought by California Governor Gavin Newsom against President Trump for deploying the National Guard got underway. Remember how this all began? Leftists were actually literally attacking ICE agents to protect criminal illegal aliens and keep them here. Newsom is fighting for their rights, I guess, in California to break federal law. If Newsom prevails, what can you do to protect the innocent who would remain victims in California, victims of Democrats?
Newsom will not prevail. Governor Newsom's not going to stop President Trump and the men and women of ICE and the men and women of the Border Patrol from doing their job. Again, he can say what he wants, do what he wants, until he crosses that line. Bottom line is Governor Newsom should be thanking ICE agents for taking thousands of public safety threats off the streets of California. He's the governor of that state. His number one responsibility is the safety and security of his communities. So he should be shoulder to shoulder with us on this. And as far as all the rhetoric he's pushing out there, go to the ICE website. Look at the data and what ICE is doing. Look at the number of public safety threats we've taken out of California. President Trump rescued California. I was there when it all started. We were serving criminal warrants on tax evasion, money laundering, cartel activity. And all of a sudden, the news came out, ICE is doing immigration raids in the Garment District. We were serving criminal warrants as a part of an overarching criminal investigation. And this is what came out of it. I was there the first couple of days. It was out of control. ICE agents were in danger. The facilities were being attacked. Yes. The aliens we had in custody in the facilities were in danger. President Trump made the right decision, sent a National Guard, and he saved Los Angeles.
You know, the last question I have for you, Mr. Homan, I know it's not necessarily in your wheelhouse other than the fact that you're in government. We just learned that Senator Adam Schiff authorized the leak of classified information in an effort to smear President Trump. That's the allegation. There are those suggesting that nothing should be done to Mr. Schiff if those allegations prove true. However, if you were to leak classified information, Mr. Homan, do you think that you would get away with it, sir?
No, I'd be in prison. Bottom line is, for the last 4 years, they want to impeach President Trump for making a phone call to Ukraine, but we're not going to prosecute someone for violating federal law when it comes to leaking classified information. That's a crime. So I'm not an attorney, I'm not the AG, but I think laws should be enforced. As they said the last 4 years, no one is above the law. And I think Adam Schiff is one of the people who shouldn't be above the law. Just like I'm not above the law, just like you're not above the law. No one's above the law. So the law should speak for itself.
Amen to that. Always an honor to speak with you. Tom Homan, sir, come back anytime. Let us know how things are going. Appreciate it.